What's up, Jeremians? In my hand is the Insta360 One X camera. I have been a fan of the 360 camera since the Ricoh Theta V. I've got one for myself, and when the GoPro Fusion came out, I also played around with it. Unfortunately, for a consumer like me, the workflow for the GoPro Fusion was just too complex and too much of a hassle. That's why I didn't continue to use the GoPro Fusion. However, the Insta360 One X caught my eye because its emphasis was that it had a good stable set of software as well as mobile apps to support it. So 3 months ago, I got myself an Insta360 One X, bought it with my own money. This is not a sponsored video. In fact, I will not only tell you about the good things about this camera, but I will also be telling you a couple of things that I am not a fan of. The very first thing I love about the Insta360 One X is its super small, lightweight and compact form factor. I mainly use it for social media pictures and a little bit of social media videos. I bring it on my travels, on my holidays, so that I can relive that moment and keep it for my memories. One of the reasons I got the 360 camera is that I felt that the traditional camera just doesn't capture the entire mood, the surroundings, and the ambience of the place that I was visiting with my family. So the fact that this is really small and compact means that it doesn't add any weight when I'm traveling. I usually travel with my family, and I've got a pretty big family, and every bit of weight saving counts. I don't want to be lugging around huge tripods and huge DSLR cameras, and this Insta360 One X just fits the bill. It is so small, it can actually fit right into my trousers pocket. And because it is so tiny, I can actually take shots from angles as well as positions that you cannot normally take with a DSLR camera. Even with a monopod or a selfie stick, there's no way you can capture that kind of angle or perspective without a 360 camera. Also, for those who like to vlog and want to use this camera to vlog with, you find that it is not intrusive at all. Normally, places like cafes, restaurants, shopping malls don't really like it when you are seen vlogging, and security will usually chase you out. But if you have a very tiny camera like the Insta360 One X, security usually always leaves me alone. The second reason why I love this Insta360 One X camera is because they have made it so easy to use. They have pretty much made it idiot-proof that anyone who has just some prior knowledge of using a smartphone, for example, should be able to figure out how to use this camera without ever reading a single line of the manual. So on the camera body, there are just two buttons that you can use to turn on and off the camera, as well as switching between the different modes, whether you want to go into photo mode, the video mode, the time-lapse mode, as well as the bullet time mode. You can choose the different frames per second, your different resolutions, as well as your different frame rates for whatever you're gonna take. And it doesn't take too long to figure out because it's all listed there. In fact, within minutes of receiving my Insta360 One X, I was able to pop in a micro SD card and a battery, turn it on, and start shooting, and I got pretty acceptable results with the automatic settings. The third reason I enjoy using the Insta360 One X is the smartphone integration. When I was using my Ricoh Theta V or the GoPro Fusion, the app just wasn't as stable, as easy to use, and as consumer friendly as the one available for the Insta360 One X. The mobile app for this camera is available for both the iOS and Android devices, and it is really very easy to use whether you want to edit, or there are a lot of little presets in there that you can just quickly select and download the photos or videos into your phone and very quickly upload it to your social media. In fact, social media is one of my biggest use of this camera, and very often within minutes of taking the photo or the video, I can actually download to my phone and it's already on my Facebook or my Instagram account. You can see how tight the smartphone app integration is with the camera because you can actually update the firmware of this camera without using any cables at all. Most devices, when you want to update the firmware, you would have to plug in a USB cable in order to transfer the firmware over and have it updated. but for the Insta360 One X, there is no need to do so. If you're downloading big files to your phones, videos for example might take a while, it doesn't incapacitate the camera. So while downloading big files, you can actually just continue to use your Insta360 One X as per normal. And that is a feature I really like, because it is doing something in the background and I can continue to use my camera. The fourth thing I love about the Insta360 One X is the LED screen. The LED screen has most of the information that you need. One of my biggest pet peeves for the Ricoh Theta V was that it doesn't have an LED screen, and that was way much harder to use. There was basically just LEDs that you have to remember. What does this flashing LED means? If it flashes twice, what does it mean? If it's red color, what does it mean? If it's green, what does it mean? There is no guesswork to be found on the Insta360 One X. And pretty much all the features that's available on the camera can be activated via the LCD screen without having to go through a mobile phone app. This is a big contrast because I also had the DJI Osmo Pocket when it first came out, and the DJI Osmo Pocket, you had to go through the mobile app in order to make different settings and then synchronize it over to the Osmo Pocket. It was only in later revisions and firmware that DJI realized that people just wanted to have all their features and functions available within the device itself and don't have to always be reliant on a mobile phone. The fifth reason I love this camera is that it comes with a desktop program. So when I was using the Ricoh Theta V as well as the GoPro Fusion, you really had to have Adobe Premiere in order to do some of the more sophisticated stuff like your free capture as well as your panning and different 360 moves. And not every consumer has the very costly Adobe Premiere, and not everyone wants to spend up to US $30 to US $50 a month just to have a program for casual video editing using the plugins supplied by Insta360 One X. The Insta360 Studio app has most of the features that you need to be able to manipulate your 360 images in most ways that you can think of, and following that you can just use a lot of the free video editing software to put it together. You can use your iMovie on your Mac or your Windows Movie Maker on your Windows machine to just put together the clips that you have edited and manipulated on the Insta360 Studio app. Of course, there is no perfect product out there, and in the same way for the Insta360 One X, there are actually a couple of things that I don't really enjoy about it, and I feel that this can be improved. The very first thing is that this is a fragile camera. There is no denying it. You have two protruding lenses on either side, and with any kind of falls on any hard surfaces, the lens will crack. There is no doubt about that. The irony is that Insta360 markets the One X as an action camera, and this is far from the truth. That is because an action camera has to be durable. An action camera has to be able to take spills and be waterproof, or at least be water resistant. So the Insta360 One X has no protective covering on the lenses whatsoever, and it is absolutely not water resistant at all, so make sure you keep it away from water. However, Insta360 has made available protective cases for the One X, and it's called the Venture case. However, the availability of this case is so scarce out there. There are so few available out there, so difficult to get hold of one, that even though it's been 6 months since this device is out, and I cannot get one here in Singapore, and it is already back ordered in most of the websites like Amazon. In addition, if you were to order it direct from the Insta360 website, after you include shipping costs, the Venture case can cost as much as a quarter of the price of the camera itself. I'm also not a fan of the Venture case because having to put the camera into the Venture case in order to have it be protected and be water resistant just means that there's an extra step I have to do whenever I want to change my SD card or my batteries. In addition, it adds a lot of heft and a lot of weight to the device itself. The second thing I don't like about this camera is the very poor audio quality. This is an audio test on the Insta360 One X. Mic test 1, 2, 3. How is the audio quality? So if you are taking images or you're taking videos and you don't intend to use the ambient sound and you don't intend to talk to it, you can run a backing track over the videos and that solves the problem. But if you intend to vlog with it, you make sure you want to have an external recorder to record your audio separately, perhaps to your cell phone, and then sync it up in post to get the best audio results. Among the GoPro 7, the DJI Osmo Action, as well as the Sony FDR-X3000 action cam, the Insta360 One X has pretty much the poorest audio quality. The third thing I hate about this camera is the LCD screen. So yes, I love the LCD screen for all that it does, which I said earlier, but the biggest problem with it is that when you're outdoors in bright sunlight, you cannot see anything on the LCD screen to set any of the settings you want. So I usually have to make sure I hide it inside a bag to cover whatever light, and I can see the settings and make my settings, and I whip it out and click record. The fourth thing that gets to me is the poor battery life of the Insta360 One X. So you usually want to have a couple of extra batteries. In fact, I got myself a couple of extra batteries. One battery is not gonna make it through the day. You can get between 35 to 45 minutes of video recording on one battery. The other issue I have with the battery is that there is this phantom battery discharge issue when you are not using your One X camera. So if you just leave your battery in and you don't use it for a week, when you turn it on the next time, 1 week later, you find that the battery has depleted by as much as a third to half of the battery is gone without you yourself using it. So to avoid this phantom discharge of the battery, what you can do is pull out the battery when it's fully charged and insert it back again, and it will not go into standby mode. The fifth thing that I find very troublesome is that the gyroscope has to be calibrated quite often. So usually I would calibrate it once in the morning before I bring it out for a shoot, and it should last for the next 1 or 2 days. But if you want a perfectly level horizon, make sure you calibrate your gyroscope often, because the Insta360 One X has problems keeping the gyroscope settings. The sixth thing I wish that Insta360 One X could have done better is with the desktop app and the mobile app. As of now, there is not a lot of consistency between the iOS app and the Android app. There are a couple of things that you can do on the iOS app that you cannot do on the Android app. For example, adding background music to your clips. That is possible on the iOS, but on the Android devices, you're just limited to the couple of tracks that Insta360 has provided in their app. And also for their desktop app, I wish that there had been more functionality. Yes, it is great for doing the free capture and reframing stuff on the footage that you transfer from your camera. However, there is no way to put multiple clips together, and there's also no way to adjust the volume or to add in a background music to it. In addition, if you want to slice up one long clip into multiple clips, there is absolutely no way to do it in the Insta360 One X app. The only way you can do that is if you invest in an expensive 360 editing software like Adobe Premiere. So now Adobe Premiere is the best standalone program on both the Mac and iOS for actually manipulating 360 video images. I hope you found this video useful and helping you to decide if you should buy the Insta360 One X. Thanks for watching.